Steve will be joining us. We've got a quorum. We've got to finish the FY27 budget and approval. It looks like there's a couple of different things that changed in this spreadsheet. Do you want to kick it off?
Yeah, sure. All right, so I did several things. I went through the spreadsheet that we use for budgeting, that Carrie's bringing up right now. Yeah, I went through this line by line, page by page, fixing a number of things. There were some broken formulas, there were some broken references, there were fields that were just typed in, they weren't auto updating. There weren't a lot of them, but there were several instances like that. I also believe I found in fiscal year 25, it looks like the warrant that we voted on for section 47 actually had the wrong number in it. So that's not going to match previous warrant articles. Everything else does. So I went back to all of the town meetings. And on the summary page here where we list the budget numbers, I've made sure that these budget numbers now match the articles that we actually voted on.
Okay, so that was my question. Like my question was that in this spreadsheet, what we had was formula errors, but what we uploaded in the budget was what was approved at town meetings. So from a warrant article perspective, we are spending what voters approved.
Correct. Now, there was an error that came up while we were working on this spreadsheet this year that Missa noticed, and the fiscal year 24 budget numbers on the spreadsheet were way out of whack. And what it ended up being was the spreadsheet was referencing the subsequent page's actual numbers as opposed to the budgeted numbers. Now, that does appear to just be an issue on the spreadsheet. It does not appear that any recommendations were made to voters or anything like that based on the erroneous data. It looks like it just ended up being an issue here.
From a historical perspective, not during the actual budget year.
Correct.
Okay. And then just so that I understand the highlighted number that is different, can you just say a little bit more about what?
So what it looks like is there was the warrant that was presented for that year looks like it used the wrong figure from one of the subsequent budget pages. And it was off by, I want to say it was $12,000 or something like that. So what was in the warrant that we voted on was actually less than what was approved during the budget process. That's why that one number on the summary is highlighted, because that one is never going to match the warrant articles because the warrant itself was actually wrong.
So we spent $12,000 more than what taxpayers approved?
Not necessarily. What we did was the warrant that we submitted to be voted on was $12,000 less than what we intended it to be.
Yeah.
Now, the actual spent numbers,
right.
I'll have to go look.
Yeah, $12,000 in the scheme of things. There's swings like that in the budget.
Anyway, and again, so I just wanted.
We didn't exceed what.
Yeah. So I just wanted to point out that specific number. That's why that one is highlighted in that column on fiscal year 25, is just because that one's never going to match the warrant. All of the rest of them do, though. So I have updated them all, so they all do match the warrant articles that we voted on. So the historical data on the summary page and the subsequent pages all now match. And I know that because the summary page now references all the subsequent pages like it should, as opposed to referencing numbers that were typed in or anything else.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
Fiscal year 26 still has cents in it. So
yeah, I figured out what that was.
Cents?
Like 0.67.
Yeah,
we never budget for change. We budget to whole numbers.
Except when we're doing cost of living adjustments. That's where those cents are coming from. I did find those because that was something that I said to you. I was like, we don't budget in cents. This is wrong. And when we're doing cost of living adjustments, we literally do that down to the cent. Now, some of these columns were set to auto round so that it would only show whole numbers. I have removed that now, so they're not auto rounding anymore. Maybe that was what we were thinking of, is the numbers were being rounded to the nearest dollar up or down.
Mhm.
And potentially that's when we were both looking at it going, we don't budget in cents. This doesn't, but anyways. So that's what that was. In addition, I have, on this most recent budget, in order to make it work.
Hold on.
Yeah.
We are budgeting for 27.
Yes.
So then why is 26 not the approved articles? The approved amounts? Because we didn't put out cents to people, did we? Because if you look at 24 and 25, it's all rounded to the whole number. We're not budgeting for 26 anymore. So that should have been what was approved out of the town warrant.
And that should be.
And so,
Does that not match the warrant?
no, well, I thought that in the town warrant, we only did it to whole numbers. But the page that I'm looking at, like the first line, has 67 cents in it.
I don't know what the warrant articles.
I'm looking now.
You know what I mean?
Those might be whole numbers. I'm not sure.
I was just looking to see
Well,
what
if we,
the,
if we think about COLAs as that pennies and if it's
Right.
feasible, maybe we did our individual items.
I'm not explaining it right. In 25, we gave COLAs, right?
Oh, I see, yeah. that makes
And,
sense.
but it's still zero. So why in 26, even giving COLAs, is it not zeroed out?
No idea. I'm gonna have to go through and I would have to go through and find out the answer to that.
Okay,
I
you
wasn't,
see what I'm saying?
I wasn't looking into that. Off the top of my head, it's likely that there are some numbers that are still rounding in there. And that's why.
Okay,
I tried to remove the rounding as much as possible, just for the sake of transparency.
so. Okay,
I can put it back.
no, I don't have anything touched anymore. You do understand my question, right?
I understand your question, but
Cool.
that wasn't what I spent the time looking into.
Does
so I'll-
Steve
I'll have to
understand
go
the
back.
question? Steve, what's your take on the matter?
Well, I'm kind of a mixed emotion.
yeah, yes, but the warrant article, at least warrant, the first one that I've seen, that has for the debt service, that 482,432.39 is what we requested for, and what was approved in the
Okay.
warrant,
All right.
so.
Cool. Then I'm happy with it. It was just weird because our conversation that we had, full transparency earlier this week, I came and barricaded myself in Brian's office and made him explain every ounce of everything that he could possibly tell me. And so when we refer to what I told you was that meeting. And so I will stop talking.
No worries. Anyways, the other change I made, because when we found out that the spreadsheet itself was not updating correctly and we hadn't actually met our target goal of being under 5% after the last meeting, after I got everything adding correctly, I just removed the $100,000 for capital reserve for the roads. That brought us to our target of being under 5%. I know nobody wanted to cut roads, but rather than take $1,000 from 100 different places, I just said, we'll use what's in capital reserve and what's in budgeted funds for roads, and then we'll deal with next year. But in order to make the budget work, that was the easiest place to get it from.
Right. No, I mean, before we, yeah, I just think it's important for us to talk. I personally agree. I just want to make sure that we get.
No, you guys can, debate what you want to do, one way or the other. This was my quick solution as I was in here messing around with everything else. This was my quick solution to go, okay, here we go. It's under 5%.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, first, thank you for going through the detailed spreadsheet. I mean, my first question was like, how do we make sure that this never happens again? And it sounds like what you have done as far as, making sure from a spreadsheet perspective, I think having more than one eye on making sure that all the formulas and everything work feels like the right thing to do.
So the spreadsheet has always been something that Janet has been handling herself, I mean, for years, even before I got here. So she continued to be the one handling this up until recently. Going forward, we plan on this being more collaborative. a more collaborative process, simply so that we don't reintroduce things like that in the future. And that we're making sure that the numbers we're discussing amongst ourselves and disseminating to the townspeople, we're making sure those are all accurate.
Sorry,
Just basically what you missed is there were several
Yeah.
formula errors that, did not, that were just in this spreadsheet for previous years. And so
Right.
he's updated those. It did not, all of the warrant articles that people voted on and what we managed to was accurate.
my concern is that, as you just said, and maybe you've already spoken to this, so I apologize, but I don't understand how the town treasurer isn't driving the numbers with the town manager looking at them, and I think the approach is back-assward, excuse my expression. The treasurer should be the individual who has responsibility and accountability for the numbers. Collaborating with town manager who oversees that information as opposed to the way it is. I mean, there could have been a pretty large potential for nefarious work being done for years. So I want part of this discussion to be about that at some point tonight. So we can go through the process.
I would just say, I think we can talk about it some, but I also just want to make sure I think we also, I would like Janet to be part of that, of any
Well, I'd like,
future conversation. I'm happy to have the conversation more than once.
at a,
Yeah.
yeah, at an
Yep.
executive level, I
Yep.
think we need to
Yep.
have it independent
Yep.
of Jan.
Okay. And as I was discussing when you were walking in, going forward, this is gonna be more of a collaborative effort. Again, Janet was doing it because she's always been the one that's been doing it.
Right.
And, you know, going forward, we're gonna change that simply to, one, have another set of eyes, two, be, a check and balance, and three, just make sure we're not introducing errors.
The other point is, we're running a $5 million operation here, and we're doing it on spreadsheets and access databases and stuff. That's, to me, we need to look at accounting software is so prevalent, so cheap that, we, not tonight or this, but next, after the town meeting, we need to look at moving not only this to your purview, but to bring in something that is less likely for errors.
Steve, we do use accounting software.
Well, you do.
Yeah.
I was under.
Because you're saying that all of this was on Excel. I think what Steve's trying to reference is, let's make sure that you have the tools and the software that you would prefer that can help with the budget that
So-
has the checks and measures.
This is on Excel as a means to distribute it to people in kind of a slimmed down
Generic.
format.
Okay, so you
Not
do have,
necessarily generic,
okay,
but I mean, I got thousands of accounting codes and not all of them are relevant. In fact, most of them are not.
okay,
But yeah, that system we use does have a budgeting process. Again, it doesn't look anything like this, and the numbers are not really in a concise manner where you can quickly look at what we're requesting, what we requested before, and what we actually spent before. The software we use doesn't really produce results like that in a way that we present on the spreadsheet. That's why we do it this way. But yeah, we are using accounting software, so all our accounts payable, all our payroll, I mean, all that goes through the Trio software that we use.
okay. Thank you.
Are there any other process questions before we get to budget discussion itself?
I have one question, which is, could you just remind me how and when we decided on the 5%?
That was what we were working towards for the entire month of March and April to try and get below for the increase.
Yeah, I mean, basically, before we started the comprehensive process, after we got all the individual budget requests in, before we looked at any cuts, it was a discussion to see what we felt like a responsible number. at this time.
Yeah, so I mean, the 5%, trying to get under the 5%, was really just kind of the generic goal. I mean, if we're deciding we want to do something else, then that's fine.
No, I think I only asked because I couldn't remember when we discussed that. And it
Okay.
seems like that is a critical number to present at the town meeting, that is what we decided to do.
Yeah, that was what we decided on during the whole process, was that we were shooting for is less than 5%.
Right.
I mean, to start, I mean, I personally support the cut as it was presented. I think it is really important for us to budget for roads. At the same time, if we're trying to keep it under 5% in a year when everything is getting more expensive. Last year, we didn't budget anything for roads, and increasing that spending by $300,000 in 1 year is a lot of money. And as long as we have $200,000 in there to do paving now, I feel like.
So I want to clarify, there is 150,000 already in capital reserves for roads, plus the 200,000 that's budgeted. So between those two figures, we should be able to do something. And then, again, going forward, then, the following year is the following year, and we'll figure it out then.
Yeah, but I don't know how others feel.
I think it sounds fine. I have to say, I think, Brian, you or someone else said that the capital reserve amount was small in comparison to comparably sized communities. So it seems like at some point we should be seeing our way to increase the amount of capital reserves, not using them.
Well, I mean, I would love to increase our undesignated fund balance, increase our capital reserve, and establish an endowment. I would love to do all of those things. And in fact, if you know any wealthy donors who want to set that up, that'd be great. Put them in contact with me. But until then, the town lives paycheck to paycheck. I mean, we really have no safety nets here. There's, we put the money into capital reserves usually over a period of a couple of years to build something up, and then we pretty much need to use it if we don't need to use it immediately. Excuse me. So yeah, I mean, I would love to build up the funds the town has. Let me know how you think we could go about that.
570-15.
It's not a solution. It's just a gently floated reminder. We did not put in any money for the paving project that might potentially come to fruition, that Mr. Rothschild was talking about. And we had talked about, well, we'll have money for paving in there, so maybe we can use some of that paving money to do the ferry paving parking area. I think we would be doing a disservice to everyone who lives that travels on Main Road if we use any of that money for it. And so the 350 that's currently in there that we can utilize, I think needs to go to the main strip of the road, not to any additional projects.
Yeah.
And if that's a concern, then we need to figure out where else to bring money in from.
When the paving was something that didn't need to happen. I mean, the paving at the parking lot at the ferry, that was something the paving itself didn't need to happen immediately, did it? That was something that could come later.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, that's
Correct.
something that, in a couple of years, or, next year, a couple of years from now, whenever it is that we pave again, that's something that it really would be best to tie in paving that we're already doing on the island with that project. That way they don't have to come out specifically for that project, and that will keep the cost down if we can combine them. So I mean, if it comes, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, it comes when it comes, but yeah, I mean, that's something that we really need to do all at once. Otherwise, both projects are going to be more expensive. I mean, shoot, watching Dave coordinate 18 dump trucks on the ferry that day was a dance of beauty. It really was. But yeah, it was a lot.
Well, I would just say about the ferry parking area, yes, none of it has a timetable attached. It does probably involve, in order to garner to receive the revenue from parking permits, we probably have to do the paving. But unlike all other paving, it actually has the potential to generate positive revenue. So, I think it's a work in progress. And I don't think we need to preoccupy ourselves at this level, at this moment in time, with how to pay for it and what the time schedule may be.
We, just to understand this correctly, we have sitting in the bank from CapRes for road 158, 185.
Yes,
Okay. And we
yeah,
request.
that's what I was talking about.
Right.
We've got 150
Okay.
in there.
And
We
we
requested
wanted
two in the budget. We were gonna put more into capital reserves. That was the original request.
So, all right, so then we would then come out of it with 258, 185 by dropping 100,000 off of the request. Theoretically, we wanted 200,000.
350.
Oh, I see, we requesting 300, we're gonna drop 100 off of it.
No, so
There's-
that 185 is what, or 158.
100 is already gone from there. So that's actual money that's already there.
Right, and then we were requesting to add money to that.
We were actually requesting to add 250 to it originally. I think we
Right.
dropped to 150 immediately, and then I just dropped off the other one. So,
Oh, okay,
so
so we're not, okay, I see. what
the
you're saying. Okay.
idea is we're not putting anything more in capital reserves, using
Okay.
what's in there and the budgeted
Right,
funds.
okay, awesome. As my take, thank you for helping with that. I was trying to put that back together myself. I would say that if this move, if we are come out of this with enough money to achieve the projects that we need to achieve this year, I don't mind. I think this is the least impactful way to solve this problem. I don't love the idea of taking more money away from the roads because they're garbage. My car's garbage, and the combination that you would make by jaw garbage.
My car is new and it's still rattled.
Yeah, so, I don't love it, but it seems like if we come out of it with enough money to do what we need to do, then that
And
seems like
the-
the logical thing.
The paving that we're probably gonna end up doing is gonna be about equivalent to what we've done, just, about 2 years ago, I believe. Again, we're gonna hit the most egregious spots,
Yeah,
as much as is possible. The additional 250,000, that probably could have bought us another mile. But yeah, again, we're just gonna have to, do what we can with what we have and, look at it again next year.
I
Yeah,
should say, before I offer that as a fully, umbrella approval of that. Is there anywhere else that we could think about doing 50 from CapRes roads and 50 from something else, or they're gonna make that? I think maybe the best move, I would say, would be to keep most of that in the CapRes reduction. Right, but also if there's anywhere else, we shouldn't just jump straight to.
Mike?
I need a Velcro budget.
Yeah, I'm always leery of I attended the ferry meeting last night. I wasn't able to attend the other meeting, so I voiced my opinion on that. I think, if we were only to reduce our number by 50 grand, which would put us at somewhere around 5.5-ish.
What we're talking about is this number.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the number we're at now, right?
If,
Yeah, if we took that 100,000,
Correct.
all right. So if we only took 50, this number would not be 4.89, it'd be 5.4
Nine.
something.
5.9.
No, we took 50% of it, not 100,000.
right, what he's saying is, how much would that 4.98% increase if we,
If you add
Right.
50,000 back in, it's gonna be
5.9.
5.9.
Okay,
That's
So-
what I was trying to find.
yeah,
Right,
got
and
it.
And then
That's the only reason why I knew
Yeah.
it was there, because I was like,
And
that's
then-
50.
Yeah, and then if it goes into, if you add in the ferry tickets, then it becomes 6.99.
Right, 7%. So I'm one of those individuals where I look at that and I go, I think we're playing with our future, which is fine, by 100,000, but if we take only 50, we're maxing out people's acceptance of a number. More likely not to take that ferry, and I don't know if this is the way to discuss this, but and then we have a true 5.9 increase, not a 6.7%. And it allows people to reconsider that based on a emotional aspect. So something to think about. The
Do you guys?
other question I had was, I guess it was the health center. We arbitrarily took 100 off of that. And I don't know where that is in this budget.
Because they counted a donor
Okay,
that
So
gave them their money.
it wasn't that money was taken off, it's that revenue went up by 100,000 because a donor was found to cover the shortfall.
okay, so let me understand that. So they came to us with a 200 plus request. We reduced that to say 100. And you're telling me that a donor came to fill that 100 difference. Okay,
And so next year you guys will have the exact same problem.
so I'm wondering, yeah, I mean,
That's correct.
and we didn't, and shame on me, I'm still only 2 years into this, so I'm learning, but it seems to me that maybe we weren't as diligent on evaluating why we had that big of increase in a single year for the health center. That's just, has an immense amount of revenue and probably could raise another 100,000 easily. Not that that's important, but so do we want, is there a way to look at those numbers of where that increase was and determine if the 100,000 that we left is appropriate, or should we just say that's the number?
We don't have the information in front of us.
Not in hard copy, it was salaries. Was the biggest part of the jump for the subsidy that they're asking for.
I mean, I believe half of the health center's budget, over half of the health center's budget is salary.
Yeah,
I mean,
and so.
that's, it's personnel, like, I kind of went over this in a previous budget meeting, but I mean, there aren't necessarily people lining up, knocking on the door to work at our rural health center.
Well, I disagree with that. I mean, they fired 2 part-time individuals on the island.
But let me
Okay.
let
finish
me
your point.
continue.
Yep,
When I say people are not banging on the door to work there, I mean skilled people. People that can perform tests and that are licensed to do these things. So we have to pay a premium to bring people onto the island to work here, as well as to bring people onto the island to cover when those, specialized people are out, whether they be vacation or sick or whatever. We offer 24-hour coverage, and we have to have people here that are able to provide that. And again, we're going to pay for that. If people want to start cutting the health center's budget, the first thing I'm going to say is, okay, then there's no more 24-hour care, because I mean, that is
Well, I'm not
a
saying-
huge
yeah,
expense.
but we're not cutting the budget. We're talking about a $200,000 increase, not a budget cut. And to me, that's not managing to the budget number that was there this previous year. And they wanted to change maybe we needed to change the individuals that were involved in, so that was
Yeah.
bringing better care and stuff.
That is the idea, is that they're bringing in, I believe the plan is to bring in 1 RN, train another one, and I want to say there might have been a 3rd person they wanted to bring in too, but the idea is bringing in people that have the education and skills to provide care.
Okay.
As opposed to just working in the front office.
All right, so maybe this barn door is closed already, but I think we absolutely missed scrutiny on that to properly look at mismanagement from they were able to get through last year. Maybe we needed to increase it 50,000 or whatever, but to have that big of increase. And then they just said, well, let me keep it professional. That big of increase, we just arbitrarily cut it in half. They got more money, so there's no need for them to manage to the dollars that they were given last year, and they, maybe next year they'll ask for another 200,000. So we need to be more, we need to be more effective in that, because I think that's a gross mismanagement on that amount of money.
Can I just say
Sure.
just one thing?
Yeah.
And I agree, it's a huge increase. But I also, last year, I just wanna have us remember that they had the CDS grant, so their subsidy actually went down last year because of the federal funding that they had, and so I think, there certainly are some changes and reasons why as you said, that it increased, but I think there's a couple of different things happening, in.
Yeah, and I'm not,
Yeah.
I need more information, but again,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I think it comes down to a bit of an oversight issue, but not just on our part, or not just in our budget conversation part. I've said this before about the preschool occasionally too, but these organizations that we give these massive subsidies to as a town, if we're the ones voting on how much they get, we should probably also have a little more involvement, like with the design of their requests or sort of like making sure that, because I think, for me, part of what I think happened with this one, and I only attended one of their meetings, and mostly only in response to finding out about their staffing changes. The impression I have, and it could be wrong, because I don't know much about it, and I should shut my mouth as such, is that they made changes to their staffing that resulted in the need for more money, and then put them into place before they had the money to continue those positions. So now I sort of feel like, short of saying, nope, you don't have the money for that position, or that position is cut. I don't know what else. I mean, that was I could be, and if I'm misreading the situation, then so be it, but that sort of leads into what you're saying about oversight of it, is like, if
If they've got you over the barrel,
They-
now you already have to.
We have to say yes to this because they've already upended what's going on over there. And when we gave them a challenge or not a challenge, but a mandate really, to get them increased lower, they just got more money from somebody else. They've solved their problem. Next year, those people are all gonna get COLAs, and who knows? And I feel like I don't wanna, having been accused recently of wanting to gut the school budget, for instance, which is just the farthest thing from the truth. I keep flashing back to this survive versus thrive mindset that I think we have to get into. And I feel like certain organizations in town are attempting to thrive in a time when we need to survive. And I'm not saying that because I want to cut the health center budget, but I think I'm looking at this list. We have a supervising doctor, we have 2 different providers, 2 medical assistants, a billing specialist, a phlebotomist, and a nurse. And they're kind of 600 people. I don't know the medical field. That seems like a pretty high staff requirement for what we do. And maybe we do only need 1 medical assistant. Maybe that sucks, and maybe we have slightly harder services to access, but we're a town of 600 people, we're on British Island, and we don't have much money.
Well, until the
Well,
population quadruples and then they only have 1 medical assistant.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, when the discussion of the new health center first came up, I was pretty firm in my belief that, when population increases, and oftentimes, summer, that's oftentimes a wealthier, older population, and I would never want to suggest that anybody ever use lack of medical access to be a reason to not be part of this community. But we are on Bridge Island of 500 people most of the time.
Mhm.
And I just I don't necessarily think we should be trying to staff a health center that can be. I just think we're stretching ourselves very thin I don't know how else to put it other than basically like, you knew what you were doing when you moved here. And if we can't provide hospital grade medical services, then that's something to consider when living here, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
Well-
mean, I agree or disagree.
No, I mean,
Well,
I think you do
can
that
I
well.
jump in with a comment?
Go ahead,
Number
Peter.
one, I think the time to have this discussion, Pete, was when we were actually considering the health center budget, and we had representatives of the health center there to defend whatever it is that they were proposing. And I, for one, agree with you that I do not have the expertise to decide what is necessary or what is appropriate and what is icing on the cake or excessive. And I think it's dangerous for a group of people who do not have any training in this field to decide what is an appropriate level of service for an island of our size, which of course the year-round population is considerably more than 500 people. But I have no way of judging that, but I would go to the health center professionals or even to some outside consultants and find out what is appropriate. My understanding was that the new renovated health center offered a range of services and expertise that we didn't have before. And I don't understand, I don't feel confident in my own ability to decide whether those were necessary or excessive or more than we could afford. I just think it's inappropriate at this point to say that it's excessive. I don't know whether it's excessive or not, but I think the time to have that discussion was when we considered the health center budget, not now.
Well,
And
as I
we
said,
went-
I
we went
tried
to the guy, the senior person at the health center, and said we were cutting $100,000 off, and he went and successfully got a contribution to replace it. So presumably he thought it was necessary.
Well, absolutely. He thought it was necessary because he's the one that presented his budget. But I digress. If I could,
He's also the one providing the care.
right. Still, we don't determine who works at the health center. We don't determine the level of services that they provide. We don't determine anything. We have zero to no oversight over the health center. What we can do is we can provide X amount of money as a subsidy to them. They then get to determine what they want to do with it. They made that abundantly clear this year by getting 2 extra positions and changing their stuff. So if we take away what they should be doing, what they shouldn't be doing, anything else, and just look at it as a scope of we are capable of providing X amount of money, peace be with you, man. That is all that we can do. We don't have the line items for it. We don't dictate anything with the line items for it. They do their own thing and they ask us for extra money. So I do think that it is important that if we turn around and say, hey, unfortunately, you guys are gonna have to we are reducing the subsidy that we're giving you by $50,000. That is not what I'm recommending. I'm just using it as a point. If we remove $50,000 from the health center budget, it's not necessarily a staff person. It's not necessarily anything else. It's wherever they determine that they want to pull the 50 grand from. And so I think that that also helps take a lot of the emotion out of employees versus staffing positions or anything else. We don't do anything with it. All we do is say, this is the amount of money that you can have, play in your sandbox.
And the request to the health center was, can you find a way to reduce your budget by 100,000?
Yeah.
They did.
Yep.
that was when we had numbers that were false,
No,
inaccurate, I'll say.
no, these were historical numbers that
Okay,
were
but-
typically the
But
problem.
we were
not the
working
current
off a
ones.
number to get to 5, and that's not what ended up happening. So we're here tonight because the numbers were not correct, right?
Some of them were not
Okay,
correct.
well, the total was not correct. And we were working off a total based on false numbers.
Correct.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with all the points that have been made, but I personally land at, it. I think it would be an unfortunate, I think from a process perspective, I feel like we would need several additional meetings to make cuts in the health center line. Not because we have a say over what line gets cut, because I agree, it's a subsidy issue, and I think that's an important clarification. But, being in a small community and just making sure that we understand the impact of the cuts that we have, I feel like we would need to have another budget meeting with health center representatives present to do that, and I just don't know timing wise, if we have the time to do that between now and next meeting, we need to approve the warrant articles.
Absolutely. And I think, Shay, it would be appropriate if we decided to do that, to get some outside independent expertise that could advise us about that. We don't have to just rely on the whatever the health center said they wanted. What is necessary and what isn't to get, and what is an appropriate level of service.
Well, that all feels like a much longer process.
Right. And I guess my point is,
Not a bad.
we're not qualified to do road maintenance. We're not qualified, I mean, if you'd wanna say what we're qualified for on a budget, we can't go to any department and say, oh, we're, so the same thing in the health. I think your
Yeah.
point is right. We're looking at it strictly from the numbers. That's all I'm looking at it from.
Mhm.
And I'm disappointed we're here tonight having to do this again because, we've spent all these weeks doing that. I agree. I probably should just shut up and let it go on. But, I'm concerned that we're falsely building in a 5% number in an area that, I think we shouldn't take away all the road money, but, and the number comes up to where it is, and that's where it is.
We're still building in $200,000 in roads.
Okay. You guys have more experience.
Yeah, so there are two different numbers for the roads. There is the capital reserve, but there is also budgeted money in public works. So the budgeted money in public works is still there. That has not been cut.
Yeah, so historically, I think we have generally done about $200,000 a year in paving is that correct?
I think it's 250 or
I was
something
gonna say,
per mile.
when I first
Yeah.
came, it was 3.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be up to 3.
Maybe
We
it was 3 and then we
tried to
knocked
start
it
at
down.
3 and it's never made it to 3.
Okay,
I don't think it's ever made it past 150.
No, but sometimes like we would build up, to do multiple years. Last year was just a building year. We didn't do any.
Because we wiped everything for East Shore Drive the year previously.
Right, no,
Yep.
right, but, anyway, I just think I think we can't build it up.
Right, we can't look at it as we're doing a mile this year. We're looking at it as, if you start building it, then you can do 4 miles in 4 years. You have to have the foundation for it. Right? Is that what you're trying to say? Or did I say it backwards?
I'm happy.
So keep it as presented. No other changes for now?
I support that.
Not a challenge, just a question.
Yeah, no.
I support that.
Two.
I mean, I'm
I am worried what you guys are doing to your budget for next year.
yeah.
Not just out of the roads.
Can I just say on the road side of things, the other thing that I feel like we're doing this year, is we're investing $70,000 in an excavator.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that is like, should be counted in the roads funds.
Yeah.
And, and so again, like from an increasing perspective, we can only increase so much in any one year without having, or as you say, we keep it, put it at 50 and our new number is 5.9 something.
Yeah, like historically, like what, I feel like when we put this, we talked about five, but I thought we had more logic behind it there, just I don't think remember, like, I thought we talked about landing sort of in between something. And I could be mistaken about that.
It was less
But
than the 8%.
It was less than 8, but it was more than, I don't know, maybe it was just.
It was 3% was gonna be the basis for cost of living and nothing additional. That was
Okay.
absolutely scrapping your budget. And historically speaking, if you land somewhere between 3 and 5, it's a swallowable number. When you get from 5 and higher, 5 to 8
Yeah,
is contested, 8 and higher is generally rioted.
so, I'm.
let's do that.
Yeah.
I want another 12-hour town meeting.
Absolutely.
I do too, because I'm not gonna be here.
I would be inclined to wonder, like, do we realistically, in 4.89 versus
5.9.
5.9?
Yeah.
Do we? Yeah, but. So I can't quite do this. do we think that would be swallowed? I mean. I don't know that I, as a voter, would be paying much mind between a difference in effectively 5% versus effectively 6%. I don't, and so I would be inclined to side with Steve on limiting the removal of that cap res. Just because I hate to see us take more money. I mean, I understand there's money there, but I hate to see us penny pinch on something that we know we needed. Like we know for a fact that we are gonna need to fix these roads in the future. There's a lot of stuff that we're doing in the town in probably the whole, and I'll say it on spiel for, but that we're kind of doing on the backs of hope. And when we know this, so I'm inclined to say the things we know. Just shave on the things we don't for, but also that's basing on the hope that the voters would vote for 5.9 instead of 4.8, so.
2 for and 2 against.
Right.
I
Wait,
would
where
support
am I?
that too. I mean, fine.
You're still on the fence.
Okay, I'm like, wait, did I pick a side?
I don't care. I also don't really care. Like, I would vote for 50,
I mean,
even 50, I don't care.
I mean, at this point, we're talking about 1%. When we're talking about, real dollars, $50,000 is really not by itself gonna do anything for the roads. If you wanted to give a lower number, lower percentage because it's easier to swallow, we could very easily do that. If you guys are good with the 5.9, again, $50,000 is not gonna make or break the road budget. Every little bit helps, but, 5.9 is not a terrible number. It's better than the number last year. It's better than the number before. So.
And there is always the opportunity for us to be back here after the town meeting.
You say that.
Because the voters said no, sorry. Well, don't you talk about what the 12-hour meeting, all right? Listen.
Touche. Mutually assured destruction.
There we go.
We're-
No, I just had a panic moment that if they reject everything, do me and you have to come back, or do we pawn it off to the next one?
You pawn it off to the next ones.
No, because I changed, yes, because I changed the order of the events.
You are,
So that new people can do it.
Either way.
the new people be sworn in at town meeting. You're done at that point.
Fantastic.
You can,
All right, let's.
Dude,
So,
I cannot express how bad it will be if we have to come back to this table with new people,
right.
knowing who those people are going to be.
I'm throwing my hat and reduce it to 50% instead of the full 1,000 or 100,000. And my line of thinking is entirely different than everybody else's. It's because every 3 years, something hits hard and whatever that is goes out of our paving and public works budget.
Yeah.
And so East Shore Drive is my prime example for 3 years ago. 3 years before that, we had different issues minus the pandemic. Luckily, we got money back on it. That was great. But you guys will be officially rolling into something's gonna happen.
Mhm.
And I would like you guys to be able to have money that is there, that will never get used for paving and will get used to fix whatever
No, we have
public
been,
service wants out.
yeah, we have been doing,
We've been trying to throw money in for the emergent, like the contingency.
what's the word that Janet keeps using?
Garbage in, garbage out.
No,
Yeah,
protecting the town against storms,
Resiliency.
no, it's not the word I'm looking for, but anyways, the majority of the public works budget has actually been going to, I really wish I could think of the word, simply to prevent, hopefully prevent things like East Shore Drive collapsing into the ocean again. That way it, if we spend $300,000 to fix it now, that means it doesn't cost $1.5 million to fix later. So we have been doing those things like that over the past couple of years. Why can't I think of that word? That's gonna drive me crazy, but I can't think of it.
So, I hear a motion to
I hear 50,
add
50, 50.
50, and I hear a second.
Oh, who made the motion?
We can,
I hear a second to add 50 to the road reconstruction. Is there any further discussion on that?
Okay, 50 back in road capital reserves.
Vote on it.
Right, no, I'm just,
Okay.
all those in favor? Peter?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Yeah, I said it. All right, 50,000 is back in, fiscal year 27 request is $5,228,984.59, 5.9% increase.
Great.
Anybody have any other questions about anything I went over tonight? Because it was a lot. I spent a lot of time with this spreadsheet.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for going through it in detail so that we can feel confident in the numbers that we are approving, because that is really important, and it's very frustrating when
Understood,
it's impossible to manage all of that information. So thank you for making sure that
understood.
it is good.
And there was concern that, wrong information was disseminated and we, voted based on wrong information. From everything I can find, that didn't take place, so. Yeah, it just appears to be a spreadsheet error that didn't end up affecting anything.
Great. Okay, well, we will meet again this time next week, and I think we'll have the warrant articles to approve. And we're good to go. Anything else?
Cool.
All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
or workshop. If I wanted to request an executive session after next, or during next
That
meeting,
would be fully appropriate.
okay, I didn't know if you,
You need a reason.
no, my question was, do I do it